How can one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL be reduced to a shadow of his former self? How can a coach who is supposed to be an offensive genius fail to utilize his star player's strengths? How can a team that had high hopes and expectations end up missing the playoffs for the 8th consecutive year? We exposed the power struggle between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and how Payton is neutering Wilson's talent and potential. So stay tuned. The Denver Broncos have been one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL this season, despite having one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. Russell Wilson, who joined the Broncos in 2022 after a blockbuster trade with the Seattle Seahawks, was expected to elevate the team's offense and lead them to the playoffs. However, things have not gone according to plan, as the Broncos have struggled to find consistency and identity on offense and have missed the postseason for the 8th consecutive year. The root cause of the Broncos' offensive woes can be traced back to the ongoing power struggle between Wilson and his head coach, Sean Payton. Payton, who was hired by the Broncos in 2021 after a successful tenure with the New Orleans Saints, has tried to impose his vision and philosophy on Wilson, who has a different style and skill set. The result has been a clash of egos, a lack of trust, and a deteriorating relationship that has affected the team's performance and morale. Payton's system requires a quarterback who can execute his play calls with accuracy and efficiency and who can adapt to his adjustments and audibles. Wilson, on the other hand, is a different type of quarterback. Wilson is known for his mobility, creativity, and big play ability, with a penchant for extending plays, scrambling, and throwing deep passes. Wilson's strengths lie in his improvisation, his arm strength, and his leadership rather than his adherence to a rigid scheme or script. Payton's attempts to mold Wilson into his preferred style of the offense have resulted in a stifled Broncos offense, with Wilson's capabilities being significantly curtailed. Payton has limited Wilson's freedom and autonomy at the line of scrimmage, forcing him to stick to his pre-snap calls and checkdowns rather than allowing him to change plays or take shots down the field. Payton has also reduced Wilson's mobility, keeping him in the pocket and discouraging him from using his legs to create plays. Payton has essentially slapped training wheels on Wilson, preventing him from playing to his full potential and expressing his unique talent. Air yards per attempt measure the average distance the ball travels in the air from the line of scrimmage to the point of reception, excluding yards after the catch. It is an indicator of how aggressive and vertical a quarterback is in his passing game. Wilson has always been among the league leaders in air yards per attempt, averaging 9.0 in his last season with the Seahawks in 2021. However, under Payton's offense, Wilson's air yards per attempt have dropped to 7.2 in 2023, ranking 25th among qualified quarterbacks. This shows that Wilson has been throwing shorter and safer passes rather than taking advantage of his arm strength and deep threats. Wilson, however, has always been more comfortable holding onto the ball longer, waiting for his receivers to get open or for the play to develop. Wilson's time to throw in his last season with the Seahawks was 2.97 seconds, ranking 30th among qualified quarterbacks. However, under Payton's offense, Wilson's time to throw has decreased to 2.63 seconds in 2023, ranking 15th among qualified quarterbacks. This shows that Wilson has been pressured to speed up his process rather than playing to his natural rhythm and instincts. These statistics illustrate how Payton's offense has not suited Wilson's style and skill set, and how Wilson has not been able to adjust to Payton's demands. Play calling predicament. Payton's approach versus Wilson's style. Examining the contrasting play styles desired by Payton and exhibited by Wilson highlights the mismatch between the coach's preference for a structured, controlled offense and Wilson's penchant for improvisation and deep passes. However, things didn't go as planned, as the Broncos' offense struggled to find consistency and identity throughout the season and missed the playoffs for the 8th consecutive year. The root cause of the Broncos' offensive woes was the power struggle between Payton and Wilson, who had contrasting play styles and philosophies that clashed on and off the field. Payton's approach to play calling was based on his meticulous preparation, his extensive knowledge of the game, and his ability to anticipate and exploit the defense's weaknesses. Payton's plays were often scripted, complex, and varied with multiple formations, motions, and options. Payton's plays were also designed to create mismatches, confusion, and separation for his receivers, allowing his quarterback to make easy and accurate throws. Wilson's style of play, however, was based on his intuition, his vision, and his ability to react and adapt to the defense's actions. Wilson's plays were often unscripted, simple, and consistent, with few formations, motions, and options. Wilson's plays were also designed to create opportunities, chaos, and big plays for his receivers, allowing his quarterback to make difficult and spectacular throws. The difference between Payton's approach and Wilson's style was evident in their communication and chemistry on the field. Payton and Wilson often argued, disagreed, and ignored each other on the sidelines, during timeouts, and after drives. Payton and Wilson also failed to establish a rapport and trust on the field, with Payton frequently overriding Wilson's calls and Wilson frequently deviating from Payton's calls. Payton and Wilson were not on the same page, nor did they respect each other's preferences and decisions. The result was a stifled and frustrated offense, with Wilson's capabilities being significantly curtailed by Payton's system. Wilson, who had always been among the league leaders in air yards per attempt and time to throw, saw his numbers drop drastically under Payton's offense, which favored short and intermediate passes, quick reads, and a balanced run game. Wilson, who had always been known for his mobility, creativity, and big playability, was also limited by Payton's offense, which kept him in the pocket and discouraged him from using his legs to create plays. Wilson's performance suffered as a consequence, as he threw for only 3,212 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions in 14 games, posting a career low passer rating of 84.7. The Broncos' offense ranked 23rd in points scored, 24th in yards gained, and 26th in passing efficiency. The relationship between Payton and Wilson reached a breaking point in Week 16, when Payton decided to bench Wilson for the remainder of the season, citing the need for a spark on offense and the opportunity to evaluate backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. The move was widely seen as a sign of disrespect, desperation, and defiance by Payton, who effectively ended Wilson's tenure with the Broncos and jeopardized his future with the team. The unraveling relationship. Payton's stranglehold on Wilson. The relationship between Payton and Wilson has reached a breaking point, with both parties expressing their frustration and dissatisfaction with each other publicly and privately. Payton has criticized Wilson's execution, decision-making, and leadership, while Wilson has questioned Payton's scheme, play calling, and authority. Payton has also lost the support and respect of his players, who have sided with Wilson and have voiced their displeasure with the coach's handling of the situation. The culmination of the conflict came in Week 16, when Payton decided to bench Wilson for the remainder of the season, citing the need for a spark on offense and the opportunity to evaluate backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. The move was widely seen as a sign of disrespect, desperation, and defiance by Payton, who effectively ended Wilson's tenure with the Broncos and jeopardized his future with the team. The power struggle between Payton and Wilson has been one of the most dramatic and detrimental stories in the NFL this season, and has resulted in a wasted year for the Broncos, who had high hopes and expectations with their star quarterback. The Broncos now face a difficult and uncertain offseason, with the possibility of parting ways with both Payton and Wilson and starting over with a new coach and a new quarterback. What do you think will happen to Payton and Wilson? Will they reconcile or separate? Will they find success elsewhere or continue to struggle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one.